is a social media algorithm? Overall, it's just an automated calculation that decides which social media posts make it to the top of your feed and which don't. So overall, the top factors in most social media algorithms in 2021 are the amount of engagement that a piece of content has received, especially within a short time frame. So if you post something, people like it right away, comment on it right away, that is a big factor. And also how much you tend to engage with the creator's content in general. And so what I'm saying is, basically, if you're posting, you want quick, immediate engagement, and you also want people to consistently engage with you, right? Obviously. So how do you make that happen, right? That's kind of the main question. So I want to start with Facebook. We're going to go, all the algorithms are different, and I'm going to focus on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn today. So Facebook. Now, instead of presenting, and this is just to explain the algorithm first, instead of presenting every available Facebook post in chronological order, the Facebook algorithm evaluates every post, scores it, and then arranges it in descending order of interest for each individual user. So it basically tries to determine, based off your activity and who you engage with, what you like to see the most of from who. And it puts that to the top of your list. And this happens, the algorithm refreshes every time you refresh the feed. So it's always changing. So when it comes to earning more organic reach, the Facebook algorithm will reward you for posting content that people engage with. Now, I just want to let you guys know real quick, I'm going to go a little bit more into the technical aspect of the algorithm first, and then I'm going to show you how to take advantage of it. But I want to dive a little bit deeper. So if this part doesn't make sense to you yet, or doesn't really mean anything to you yet, just hold on. We're going to get to that part a little bit later. But basically, this is how the algorithm on Facebook starts. So first, Facebook takes every post available in a user's network. So every post that anyone that you're following makes, and then scores those posts on predetermined ranking signals, like the type of post it is, whether it's video, picture, plain text, the recency of the post, that does matter. Remember, it's not all chronological, but the recency does matter. It does play a factor. Next, it discards posts that a user is highly unlikely to engage with. That is why a lot of business posts don't get seen, because business posts typically don't get engaged with nearly as much as a personal post would. So again, it also demotes content that users don't want to see. So in their words, clickbait. I'm going to go over engagement baiting with you guys later, but clickbait, misinformation, or content that they've indicated they don't like, whether we like it or not, honestly, it's their platform, right? So if they don't want something out there, they're not going to push it to the top. Then it runs a more powerful neural network, so over the remaining posts to score them in a personalized way. So for example, let's say Mona is 20% likely to watch tutorial videos from her chess group. All right, she's in a chess group and she's 20% likely to watch a tutorial video in there, but 95% likely to post a heart reaction to a photo of her sister's new puppy. It literally tracks this stuff down to the details like this, which is really why you want to get to know your target market and stuff they like, even if it's not necessarily directly what your service is. Think about who the demographics of your target market and the kind of stuff they like to engage with, and try to kind of bring that into your posts in a way. And then finally, it arranges a nice cross-section of media types and sources so that a user has an interesting variety of posts to scroll through. So it does find the most stuff you want to engage with, but then it does a variety. It mixes it up. So here are 4 ranking signals to consider on Facebook for the algorithm. Number 1 is relationship. Is the post from a person, business, news source, or public figure that the user often engages with? And that could mean not only likes or comments, but also who they follow, if there's messages sent, DMs are sent. Yeah, they track everything. They know if you're responding to messages too. I need to do a better job at that. But they know if you're responding to messages. Content type, so they also keep in mind what type of media is in the post and which type of media does the user interact with. I already mentioned this: videos, photos, even links. If they tend to click on links, they're going to show them more posts that have those kind of things. That's why it's good to experiment with your different kinds of content and see what your audience tends to gravitate towards more. Still mix it up, but find out what they like the best. Because then it can help you decide, hey, I need to get this message across. Should I put it in video form? Should I put it in a picture form? Right? Now, popularity. How are people who have already seen the post reacting to it? Especially your friends. Are they sharing it? Are they commenting on it? Are they ignoring it? Or are they putting the angry face? I know sometimes we put the angry face, by the way, because we agree, like someone might have been venting about their day of something frustrating, and we might do the angry face on Facebook, the reaction. That actually negatively hurts their post, by the way. Not like it's going to be the end of the world, right? But it slightly negatively hurts the post. And then recency. Like I said, recency does matter. It's not everything, but newer posts are placed higher, right? Like even if it was an amazing post, I'm probably not going to see your post from 2 months ago, even if it fits everything that I want to see, unless someone starts commenting on it again and it gets the algorithm going again. So here are tips for working with your Facebook algorithm. And some of these are repeats, guys, but I'm going to hammer it home. This is exactly what you need to do. Reply to your audience, always. The algorithm prioritizes posts from pages that has a user that has interacted with it in the past. This means that bumping up your reply game is key, whether that's in Messenger or comments. So respond to your messengers, respond to your messages, respond to comments, always. If you forgot, I do this all the time. I'll go back sometimes. I lost some notifications in a sea of notifications, and it'd be like a week later. I'm like, oh my gosh, I never responded. It's not too late. Go back and respond. Even if it doesn't help that post, it will help future posts. Get your audience replying to each other. So this tip comes from Facebook itself. So apparently, if a post has triggered a lot of conversation among a user's friends, the algorithm applies action bumping logic to show that post to the user again. So basically, if you make a post, let's say that Debbie, you're on my screen. Let's say Debbie makes a post, and then me and Denise are both friends with Debbie, and Denise writes a comment under Debbie's post, and then I respond to Denise's comment, and then all of a sudden me and Denise have a little conversation. That's like best case scenario for your post. That's it. I know it's hard to, so now you got to think of how can I encourage that? How can I encourage that? How can I make that happen? Typically, it's just starting great conversational, posts, like stuff that brings up conversation. Like even if you're the expert in a field, it's okay to ask a question about it that you might even know your answer to, right? But you just want to get people talking about it. Yeah, so the algorithm values content that people want to share and discuss with their friend. There is a note on here. It does not mean to inspire strangers to get into flame wars. So don't want to make controversial stuff just for the sake of starting conversation. Look, we're all going to do that sometimes, but like on accident, but I'm just saying, I get the idea, right? If I post something like, polarizing enough that people respond to it, even if it doesn't help. That's not good. Because if someone reports as offensive, they're going to be flagged for a long time. Like, Facebook will be watching your post, and they'll lower the reach of it. Aim for love more than likes. So the last few years, the algorithm has weighed reaction buttons more heavily than a simple like. So target emotional reactions in your posts with love, caring, laughter, sadness, not anger, but in general. Again, if you're not sure what's going to resonate with your audience, I would just say post stuff that's meaningful, that's heartfelt. That helps a lot. But also, my whole point of this is give what you want to get, right? If you want to get heart reactions, give out heart reactions. Because some people might have a weird feeling. Oh, does that mean they love me or something? Like, what? Are they hitting on me or something? No, if you do it consistently and not just do it on a picture where they're posting about themselves or like like a bikini shot or at a gym shot or something, and that's the only one you're doing the hearts, then maybe, right? But if you're just constantly hearting everything, which is pretty much what I do, like people are going to get that's just how you interact, and they'll start doing the same to you more often. Even just subconsciously, they'll just be like, post when your audience is online. Look, I don't want to weigh you guys down and cripple you. Like, there's only a certain time. I get it. Like, I don't want you to not post just because it's not the perfect time. but it does make a difference in the algorithm. If you want to take the next step, you do want to post when people are online, right? It doesn't have to be to the hour or the specific minute, but it's important. And Facebook keeps stressing it. You gotta, especially on Facebook, because there's so much other content on there. It's the most saturated platform. You're competing with so much. So that, like I said, the newest posts do go to the top of the news feed. But again, the algorithm doesn't have to make it chronological, but it still plays a huge factor. So try to, schedule posts if you need to. Just try to post at a decent time. I know sometimes we have great ideas late in the middle of the night. Either write it down or record the video and then schedule it for the next day. Also, you can skip the algorithm using Facebook stories. So stories, they aren't a part of the news feed. They go up to the top of your page, right? So you can click on them there and see everyone's stories. They aren't controlled by the algorithm, actually. So they're also, Facebook says they're very effective in driving traffic. 58% of people say they visited a brand's website for more information after watching a story. So literally more than half of the people might see something on your story and literally go to your profile. I've actually noticed on Facebook too, this makes a huge difference, and on Instagram, because like I said, it's such a saturated social media platform that people, won't a lot of times see your stuff at all in the news feed, or they have to scroll down for a long time to finally see your stuff. If you post on your story, some people don't even like to scroll in their news feed. They just look at stories. Like, I know people who just watch stories. So if you're not using them, you're missing out on hitting those people. If you want to know what to do, this is a study by Facebook, what to post on your story. 52% of people want stories that are easy to understand, so don't make them too complicated or too wordy. They're kind of just little flash, like a little, they only stay for 24 hours. It's a real quick thing. 50% want to see new products. So shoot, this is a great place to, you're an MLM, you have new products, post them on your story. Even if it's not your product, you just think a cool product you saw, like shout things out. 46% of people want tips or advice. So that's another, if it's not quite where, hey, I want to make this a post, but I think it's still kind of cool, I want to put it out there, stories are perfect. Many of you already know this, but go live on Facebook. Go live on Facebook. So in 2020, everyone was stuck at home, and live video on Facebook in the US jumped by 50%. So because live video receives 6 times more engagement than regular video, the algorithm really, really likes it. Virtual events aren't going anywhere. Things are opening up, which is great, but, virtual events are still going to be a thing for a lot of people. So going live is just a great way to engage with people right when you're live. And that's what people don't understand. It's not all about who watches it right when you're live. Even when you end the live, Facebook pushes your live video higher up in the news feed. So it's not all about who's just watching it while you're live. It's the fact that you did go live. If you notice, even when a live video is done, it will say at the top of the post, it will say, Eduarda went live at this time, right? Like, it will say that, and it catches your eye. It catches our eyes. So the thing with videos to keep in mind, people say there's different lengths, there's different things you should do. Just keep in mind, the Facebook algorithm tracks how long people actually watch your video, right? Like, they look at, like, how long are people actually staying on the video? Are they watching it past 3 seconds? Are they watching it past 30 seconds? Are they watching it past a minute? The cool thing is you can actually go back and look at the number of people, the views, how many views watched it this long, how many views watched it this long, how many views watched it this long. Then you can start to get an idea. Is one thing I noticed is I wanted to start getting quicker in my videos. It's getting to a point of interest when I first start, because it's a very big drop off on videos at first after the first 3 seconds, right? So if people doesn't catch their eye or their interests, they might not stick around. It's not personal. There's just so much stuff competing for our attention on social media. So again, videos that people watch past the 1 minute mark are really good. That's so another little tip. I've seen people do it. You could say, you could even say how long the video is in the caption. Hey, awesome tip comes in at 102 or something like that. Try to find different ways to encourage people to keep staying on the video. Also, try to post your videos, upload them organic or natively. So like, download the video, make sure it's your video to upload. Don't just post the YouTube link. YouTube and Facebook are competitors, right? So they don't want outside links in general. You can still do that if that's the only option you have. It's okay, but it's better off if you can just upload the video directly to Facebook. Also, this is a big thing. This has been a big key with Happy Neighborhood Project, and this won't work for all of you guys. This is not a possibility for everyone, but expand your reach via your best advocates. So who are your best advocates? Your employees, your employees, or your team, or your family members. So I'm going to stretch that out a little bit just because not all of us have employees, right? But family members, best friends, referral partners. It doesn't have to be everyone. Just find the people that want the same thing from you and have them give comments. The people you talk to know what your mission is and what you're all about as well as anyone. So they're going to be able to offer more insightful comments. But I'm telling you, HNP is where it is today. Almost 5,000 followers on Facebook, on LinkedIn, because, me, Fong, Edwin, other people part of the company we've had have commented, engaged, liked. Talk to your employees, get them bought in. There might not be any more powerful tool, to be honest, because if you have 3 employees, that's 3 comments you're getting on every post, right? And then you respond, that's 6 comments you're getting at least on every post. So avoid engagement baiting. This is the one that's not as obvious. I did do some research on this. They actually might hurt me on this post just because I'm saying this, because they actually track it in videos. So they might actually take my examples. I don't care, though. Here's the point. I talk about doing engaging posts, or we know we need to do engaging posts and ask questions and get people to like our stuff. But you can't be too obvious about it. You can't be too spammy about it. And this is a recent kind of development. And I've done this the wrong way too. I've literally made posts like, hey, live this reaction if you want, if you think this. Don't do that. Facebook's algorithm is so advanced, they track that. So if you ever say, hey, if your favorite, and this is a terrible example, but if your favorite color is red, share this post, right? Or something like that. That's engagement baiting. If you agree, comment yes, or if you agree, like this post, or share this with someone who, share this with your, we've seen that, comment your 5 friends, tag your friends if that you feel this way about and stuff, right? Tag your friends who are your ride or dies. I don't know, stuff like that. That's all engagement baiting. And actually it's so advanced now that it's actually in videos too. So even if I say something in my video is like, hey guys, please share this video, blah, 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 like I do when we go on Facebook Live. But again, this is different because this is a class and not content. So basically what I'm saying though is be careful with your language. More so just ask a question that is obvious you're looking for a response, right? Like you don't just ask a question for no reason. So try to focus on just wording it differently. And even if you just make sure you're not asking for likes, comments, shares, or tags. Basically, you just can't directly ask. So here's some, just to summarize a little bit. So the algorithm prioritizes content from friends and family members over businesses, which is why I'm huge on leveraging your personal profile for your business page. Your personal profile will get seen more than your business page. It heavily prioritizes content from people you engage with. So people who post about you, comments on your post, or whom you message with. It prioritizes number and length of comments. So yes, short comments do help, but they don't help as much as a long, heartfelt, comment. So the more you can add to the comment that actually, the more someone else the longer a comment that someone leaves on your post, the better it is for your post. Also vice versa though, because if you leave longer comments on other people's posts, they're going to be more likely to do the same to you. No problem. So tips for winning on Facebook in 2021, aside from running paid ads. I'm not your expert on paid ads. You're going to have to talk to other people about paid ads. I'm not your guy for that. I'll just be honest. I'm organic reach. So tips for winning, just when applicable, use your profile as a business owner. What I mean is use your personal profile to engage with your business posts, and also to share your posts. Not all the time, not every single post, but you earn the right to share your business post by posting about other stuff, personal stuff too. Also your employees, like I said. This is something I've had happen to me before. Make sure your posts are turned on to public, unless you're just trying to keep everything in private. But if you keep it public, there's no point in having other people share your post or posting in groups and stuff, because unless the other people their friends are your friends, they're not going to see it. If your posts aren't public, people aren't going to see it. I get it if you really want to use it just for personal reasons, but if you want to use it for business, make sure your posts are public, and check your settings. You might be surprised. Sometimes they get changed. Ask questions to inspire engagement. Post content that encourage meaningful, lengthy comments, not just nice shot. And utilize Facebook video. So those are the main points for Facebook for now. Someone asked a question, do I feel that a presence on Facebook is useful for B2B? I do. I feel like Facebook is a good platform. A lot of things that are, it's difficult about it, but at the same time, I've gotten business off Facebook. I know a lot of people have gotten business off Facebook, and especially I find that a lot of your customers are close to. If you're close to your customers, if you have friendships or relationships with your clients, I think Facebook is an excellent, excellent, excellent tool. Helps you keep up with their life a little bit more too.
Hey, Aaron, are we open for questions yet or not yet?
Go ahead. I'll let one question right now, just because we're about to switch over to Instagram.
Okay. So, what about the crying face or the sad face? Are those also negative? Like, someone posts, that they just recently someone passed away or something.
Not as much. Not as much. I mean, look, this is just what I'm hearing too about the negative, the angry face. I've read it like 3 different times about the angry face having a negative effect. I don't think the sad face has a negative effect, because that's more of a, I feel for you. But I honestly don't do either, really, hardly ever. Even like, as sad as it is, if someone has a recent death in the family, something like that, I'll do like the caring emoji, something like that, more to keep it just positive. Like, you can pretty much use that for anything. But to answer your question, not 100% sure. Any quick questions about Facebook before I go to Instagram? Please put your hand up if you do, so I can't see everyone. Okay, Kimberly, go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned, just to confirm, so the public versus private. So my private or my personal page is private, but when I share from my business page, that's public. But then that still means my audience is still private because it's my personal.
So, yeah, I see what you're saying. Sorry. Just because your personal is private, it doesn't make your business page private. But you do lose the ability of, like, if you were to share your business post on your personal page, the only people who could see that share would be people who you're connected with on your personal, right? They are the people who see your posts even though you're private. So it's okay to do that. Unless there's a huge reason not to go public, which there's legit reasons, I get it, but I'm just saying, unless there's a huge, I really think one of the reasons I'm able to reach quite a few people on business posts is because I do leverage my personal. But no, it doesn't just automatically make it that way. However, again, most of us have less followers. Not all of us, but most of us have less followers than we do friends. And even if you don't, you're still probably gonna have less people see it from your followers than you would from your friends. Followers of your business page versus friends of your personal page. But I get it. There are reasons to keep it separate.
Okay, thank you.
Serena, looks like you have a question.
Yes, I was trying to take notes, and I think I might have misunderstood where you were talking about engagement-based. posts, I started to write that you should put things on there that would be, if you such and such, then share, repost, click on. But then I think I heard you say, no, we can't directly ask them to do that.
Right. So,
but we want to just put like a more generalized question on there, not specifically ask them to share it or ask them to repost. Is that right?
100%, yes. So
Okay.
my apologies if I was not clear in my communication at first, but yes, do not engagement bait. Do not.
Yeah, so do not. Okay. They call that engagement bait. Okay.
Yep. It's basically the difference of, it's just kind of like gaming the system a little bit, It's kind of like you got to be engaging, but you can't like incentivize people to engage, basically.
Right. Yeah, I've seen posts like that where the first person who gets a Starbucks, coffee card or whatever. It's like, yeah.
I've done that before too. I've literally done that.
Okay.
It's
all right, I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. All right.
Yes. No problem. Thanks for clarifying, because if you had that question, someone else definitely did. And again, this is a new thing for the algorithm because they're trying to get less and less spammy. It didn't always used to be that way. Debbie, go ahead.
So, because Serena and for everybody, there used to be ladders, which were Facebook ladders, where you were able to post your fan page, business page, and be able to get those likes. Well, and then it was for whatever. It used to be a big thing. Now Facebook don't like it because some people said, well, now everybody that is contacting me is not part of my business or doesn't want to do business with me. And so Facebook cut it off. But there is ways. The best way is to join groups that are in your type of business and share a post once in a while and just put, and then scroll down and start liking other people's posts, because then they'll go like your post and then they'll go to your page. But you always want to put your Facebook link in those posts when you share to a group.
Right.
So they can just click on the link and it'll take them to your business fan page.
Awesome. Thank you, Debbie. LaShawn, last question for now, and then we move on to Instagram.
Oh, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering, I just started a new Facebook group in December. And when I comment, like if every person is commenting on it, on a post, or when I go live, and if I'm saying like, thank you for sharing and comment on each and every individual's post, if I'm saying like the same thing, like, thank you so much for sharing, or I may put thank you and put my little acronym and hashtag, am I spinning my wheels? Is that a waste of time, or is that helping engagement?
No, that's good. I think it's good because look, there's the algorithm aspect of everything, and there's also the psychological parts of it. Meaning, if I make someone feel good for sharing my stuff and commenting on my stuff and liking my stuff, they're more likely to continue to do so. They are more likely to feel acknowledged. People like to feel important. That's one of our basic needs. They like to feel like they're doing something, and they want to feel acknowledged. So by no, I think it's a good idea. I think it's always show love to your followers and your friends and connections. Focus if you want to grow your followers, focus on the followers you have and engaging with them. And that's not just a fluffy thing either. Like the algorithm literally says that. Like it literally, the more you engage with your followers, the more it's going to recommend you to people, or it's going to recommend your posts. It's going to, show you higher up to people. So.
Okay, because I was saying like, thank you for sharing. Some people would tag people, and under everyone they would tag, I would put thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. I'm like, is this like redundant? Am I just...
So I think if it's a live video, it's a little different too, because a live video is supposed to be more like, I do live just because I like to do it and I don't want to back out. Like for me, I can't chicken out from live. I'm already going. But
yeah, that's what pushed me to start the show.
Yep. No, if you're doing like a show and it's like literally an interactive kind of thing too, I think that's great.
Okay. Thank you so much. No, I messed up because I made it private in the beginning because I didn't know. Now I have almost 300 members and I don't know how to make it public. I can't make it public now, so
Well,
that's a
groups
whole
are a little
nother.
different though. Groups are a little different. So groups, it's not necessarily a huge deal. It just really depends. The problem if you make your group public is sometimes too many people will try to jump in and spam the group and stuff too. So it's just sometimes what I'll do, for example, we have a huge group, HNP online networking group. I'll use my business page. I'll go live, and then I'll share that post to my personal, and then I'll share that post, the same original post that I made. I'll share it to my group, and then I'll share that post to other groups too, instead of making individual posts for each group, because the engagement and the reach I get from the group that I share it into actually helps the
Original one.
Right, the original post. It helps that reach more people. So it's all about getting more engagement on the original post.
Thank you.
Of course. We're going to go to Instagram. Again, there's always more stuff we can cover by every platform. So I'm going to go on to Instagram. By the way, I plan on going till 4:30 Pacific. Anyone has to jump off early, I totally understand. A lot of our classes go an hour, so I get it. But this will be on Facebook Live, so you can watch the rest later. So Instagram. The Instagram algorithm decides which content gets seen every single time a person opens the app. The algorithm instantly combs over all the available content and decides which posts go to the top of the news feed and in what order, which posts are featured on the Explore tab, and in which order stories, live videos, reels, and IGTV videos show up in the feed and their respective tabs. So every time you refresh and open up the app, it's all flipping that all around. So basically, it's just a set of rules that controls your content's organic reach. It looks stuff at like users' past behavior. It sweeps all the available posts or pieces of content and then evaluates each one to predict how interesting that is to the user. The most interesting content goes to the top. So I feel like with Instagram, it does focus on relationships and stuff. But I think one of the differences from Facebook is it's going to focus more on the content type that people like, and the content, what kind of content people like to see, meaning animals, cars, sports, whatever, right? So the Instagram algorithm's ranking signals fall under three major categories. Number one, relationship. So again, this is all important on every single platform. So it assumes that people who've interacted with your account in the past will be interested in your new content. Not always the case, but that's how the algorithm works, right? So when it decides to show a post to one of your followers, it evaluates your relationship. Do you guys both follow each other? So that's why following people back is good too. Did they search for you by name? I know, like the most advanced stuff, they actually track that. Do you guys message each other or leave comments on each other's posts? That's why I always say engaging with other people's stuff is the most important thing you can do. Do you guys tag each other in your post ever? Do you tag them in a story, right? And do you save each other's posts? The little save button on the I think it's the very right option. When you see a post, you'll see the heart, you'll see the comment, you'll see the arrow where you can send it to someone or put it on your story, and then you'll see the save. That's really important. So engaging with your followers does genuinely help increase your organic reach on top of making your monthly, of course, on top of making the analytics look great. Timeliness. So again, it doesn't show everything in chronological order, but it does assume, the algorithm, that the most recent posts are more important to people. So while Instagram insists that all posts do at some point show up in a user's feed, newer posts are often ranked higher than older ones. So basically, bottom line, what does that mean? Post when your audience is online. That's still the bottom line. Posting at 2 a.m. is not really going to hit anyone. Post on your story if you're going to post at 2 a.m., right? Because it stays 24 hours, doesn't really affect anything. Like, it's the perfect time to do it. Interest. So we said relationships, timeliness, and now interest. The algorithm's job is to give people what they want. So by tracking the user's affinity and being very good at understanding what is in a given photo or video. So Instagram knows how to get basketball highlight videos to basketball fans, astrology memes to millennials, and so on. For brands, a system that caters to people's preferences means your organic content has to be truly appealing to your target audience in order for the algorithm to show it to them. There's no shortcut to defining your niche, developing a consistent voice, and telling a story to people that matters. A story that matters to people. So basically, what I mean is, you can't just think of your product. I already mentioned this before, or your service. Take a step back and realize the demographics of your target audience, and think about all the stuff they're interested in, and also how that demographic likes to take in content. Do they like video? Do they like photos? Do they like long text? What do they like? Also, if that group of people tends to be more interested, like say you're in fitness, right? You might not all be about fitness, but sports is probably going to have a good overlap there, right? Or hiking, right? Or nature and stuff. There's going to be some overlap, or nutrition or whatever, right? There's going to be certain overlap. So you don't have to make all your posts directly about your content, your service. It could be about around those kind of things as well. Stuff that relates to your demographic of your target market. Other ranking signals. So they've also mentioned, Instagram has mentioned 3 other factors that will affect your organic reach, but they have more to do with your audience's behavior than yours. But just so you know, again, to reverse engineer. So frequency of use. Obviously, if your followers are people who use Instagram more often, they open it more often, they're more likely to see your post, right? Because if the algorithm, if they only see 10 posts, the algorithm's going to show them the top 10. If they look at 100 posts, it doesn't matter if yours was the top, you're still going to more likely to see yours. Following, so the logic is similar to here, where people who follow 1,000 accounts actually miss more posts than people who follow 100 accounts, right? Because it makes sense, right? If I'm following a ton of people, I'm less likely to see a post by Denise if someone else I'm with. Say another one of my friend follows 100 people, I follow 1,000 people. We both follow Denise. My friend who follows 100 people is more likely to see Denise post because there's less competition for content. What does that mean? Even people who don't follow that many people are important. Don't overlook someone who just followed you, who only follows like 15 people or 20 people. They could be a bot, of course, or spam, so look at that. But I'm just saying, if they're a normal person, don't just look for the influencers. Influencers probably aren't going to notice you most of the time, right? You can still do it. I've got influencers to react to stuff, but at the same time, focus on the small guys too. Like, they are going to help you. They're going to see your posts more often. Their comments still have the same weight, focus on them. Also, right. So just time people spend on Instagram, right? The more time they spend, the more they're going to see. So basically, your ideal Instagram follower looks at their feed several times a day and also doesn't follow that many accounts because you want them to see your stuff. Here are 9 tips for working with the Instagram algorithm in 2021. Number 1 is post carousels. What are carousels? Carousels are posts that have more than one picture on Instagram. Basically, ones you got to slide, right? You slide over. I think you can do up to 10 pictures in those. So the reason they don't specifically prioritize carousels, the reason why they do better though and get more engagement is why they reach more people is that posts that get more engagement tend to reach more people. Now, what you got to think about it is when people swipe to the next picture on your post, that's a piece of engagement. That's action. That shows the algorithm that they like your post. They're interested in it because they're spending more time looking at your post, and they're also making movements on it. They're sliding on it. That helps your reach. So they say carousel posts make up 17% of feed posts, and they pull 3 times the engagement and 1.4 times the reach of other post types. They're also great for going more in detail on products and stuff because you can do different angles and such. So anyways, if you go on a trip, if you go do something fun, take multiple pictures, not sure what to post more than one. Posting consistently. This helps with reach, engagement, and follower growth. So on average, businesses actually post 1.56 posts per day to their feed. And if that sounds like way too much for you, then just know that consistently showing up, whether it's every weekday, whether it's every 3 days, whether it's twice a week, whether it's once a week, it's enough to keep the ball rolling. Just keep being consistent with what you're doing. Look, I'm not saying that if you post more, you're going to get more, right? But being consistent is very important, not just posting randomly all the time. So now Instagram has never stated definitively that the algorithm looks at your account posting frequency when it decides to rank your post. However, again, it does look at just your consistency and not necessarily always doing it all the time, but just consistently doing what you're doing. Of course, if you post more, though, it's obvious it's going to reach more people. Don't try to game the system. And this is coming from someone who always tries to game the system. I just try to figure out the best ways. You don't learn until you try. But they're getting smarter. The algorithms are getting smarter and smarter. So buying Instagram followers, Instagram pods, Instagram automation, they do not work as well anymore. Basically, they can tell when you're being shady. So just be careful with that. Now, hashtags are very, 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 very important. But don't just slap on hashtags that are overused, like love and light or Instagood or love or whatever, right? Dig around your niche, do some searching on your own, follow people in similar industries, see what they're using for hashtags, and actually use hashtags to describe what your post is about. Use relevant ones, not just random what you think is going to attract where your customers are. Like, you got to find a balance of that, right? Now, for example, if I made a social media post and I tagged my location, because there's a geo, you can choose the location you're in, and I said Sacramento, I can hashtag Sacramento. Even if I don't say anything about Sacramento, it's still relevant to the post. That's still a relevant hashtag, right? Obviously, posting when your audience is online, as I already said, people spend about an average of 30 minutes per day on Instagram. So just try to figure out, look at your insights, make sure you have a business profile. If you don't know how to do that, talk to me later, or go to Summer's Instagram Masterclass. It's really good. My number one way, I think, for growing your Instagram following and presence is, I call it hashtag serving, or the $1.80 technique. And I've made a video about this recently, but the $1.80 technique is basically it's coined by Gary Vee, and it's basically finding 10 hashtags that are relevant to your industry and going through each hashtag and finding 9 posts. Go to recent posts on that hashtag, find 9 posts, and give your 2 cents. Your 2 cents on 9 posts and 10 hashtags. So you're giving your 2 cents or comment or opinion on 90 posts. That's why they call it the $1.80. If you do the math together, it's really corny, but it really works. It seriously is an explosive way to grow your following and to grow your just do that. I know it takes some time. Now I want to give you a little. Most people won't say this. You see people say you have to leave comments. Yes, you do, but leaving likes on 90 posts per day on these hashtags is not all for nothing. Like, you still will drive traffic back to your page, and you will still gain followers. Because some people, imagine if I only have 4 likes on my post, someone likes my post, that 1 like is going to mean a lot to me. I might go follow that person because I want them to do it again. So again, just to summarize, the Instagram algorithm prioritizes posts with the highest number of likes. It prioritizes very recent posts. So again, it's not all about when, but if I post something and you jump on this like a minute later, you're very likely to see my post, unless you're following thousands and thousands of people. Like, if I post it right when you jump on, so it doesn't matter. It prioritizes posts from profiles that people engage typically with, why it's important to build friendships and have people you consistently engage with. It prioritizes posts from hashtags that the user follows. So if you follow a hashtag, you're more likely to see people's posts that use that hashtag if you're following that hashtag. It now occasionally shows posts with great engagement from a profile and using hashtags that the user does not follow. So either they show you stuff that's relevant or that's getting high engagement. You know, if it's relevant to what you like and what you engage with, and it's highly engaged, that's the winning formula, right? But either or can get your post seen. So updates for 2021. In 2021, even more users see content by profiles they do not follow, which is good news. In their main feed and also in that discovery tab, right? Now, to increase your chances of that happening, focus on getting engagement from your core followers. This is straight from them. So this is what I've been saying. Focus on your current followers, get them engaging with all your stuff. They'll start to expand your reach. Instagram has also announced on what basis they decide whether they recommend your content or not to people. The most important points are, again, straight from them. Posts with clickbait or engagement bait don't get recommended. Contests or giveaways don't get recommended. This is new to me, by the way. This is new to me. Repurposed content from another source without added value doesn't get recommended. So if you're just going to take something else, not give your 2 cents, does not get recommended. Also, I know one thing I'm not an expert in, and that's just because I just haven't really done it too much, is Reels. So I know many of you guys have heard of Instagram Reels. Basically like a TikTok. They get a ton of reach. If you can get good with that and you're creative, I encourage you to, especially if you're new, because that's a perfect time. If you don't already have your set in ways with Instagram, like, might as well pick up the stuff that they're pushing heavy, which is the Reels. If you want advice on Reels, talk to someone else. I'm not really your guy for that. But they are really good for explosive growth and reach. And they and they actually show up higher, like, or the bigger. So they show up bigger. If you go to the discovery section, you look at the squares of how much space each post takes up. The videos actually take up more space. So that's just their kind of small, subtle ways of pushing those kind of content to you. So tips for winning on Instagram in 2021. Engage with followers' content during the first hour after you post something. So I say the sooner the better. And you know, if you post something and they leave a comment, respond back, and the quicker, the more likely they're going to continue the conversation, which is more engagement. During the first 3 hours after you post something, is what it says, immediately respond to every comment. Write meaningful captions. Don't just post the photo, put some kind of caption there. Ask questions in your captions to engage with the audience better. Again, not just an attention grabber. This is what I'm saying. I see people ask a question and then they go into paragraph, like words. Like, they're not actually asking a question. You don't want a response. You just did it as attention grabber, which isn't bad, you know, but this is not an essay. Right? This is about getting people to actually engage. Let's see. There's no one, and I'm glad this said this because this is how I feel, but there's no one way to apply hashtags. Experiment with different hashtags and hashtag strategies. Figure out what works for you. Use stories to get more organic reach without affecting your feed. I know some people don't like to post stuff all the time because, you know, they have a certain quality they want to have on their Instagram feed or whatever. If you're worried about that, then just keep posting your stories too, you know. And again, stay consistent. The algorithm will downgrade you if you post randomly. If you're going to post once a day, every other day, twice a week, whatever you manage, just stay consistent. All right, I'm going to go to LinkedIn. Any quick questions on Instagram? So Eduarda, it looks like there's a question about how to share someone else's post photo to your own IG news feed. There are a couple different, share apps basically you can use. I don't use those, so I don't know. Someone might be able to instruct you a little bit better on that. You could screenshot it, but and then edit it so you take off the stuff. But I would always give credit. You would tag them in it if you're going to use their post. But for me, the easiest thing is just screenshot and then kind of like edit it. See, Kimberly uses Reposta, so maybe talk to Kimberly on that one because I haven't used any of those apps. All right, so we're going to go to LinkedIn then, unless there's any quick questions on Instagram. Doesn't look like it. Cool. LinkedIn it is. So the LinkedIn algorithm is not the same as the Facebook algorithm, but has some similarities. Before we go into this, just think about what is important for LinkedIn. Professionalism, not spam, not like, right? That's what they want to bring out. Now, it's not quite as just pure business professional like as it was. You can still do personal stuff, but they don't want spam. They don't want offensive stuff. They don't want, too overly personal stuff, right? So that's just keep that in mind. What all of these platforms really want, what kind of stuff they want going around their platform. So they have a 4-step process for content distribution across this network to reduce the chances of spam or inappropriate content. Again, that's their bottom line. So every time you post an update to LinkedIn, even if it's an image, a bot immediately places the content into one of 3 categories: spam, low quality, or clear. You obviously want to be in the clear category. If your content gets put in the low quality category, you still may have hope to keep going, and it could move on to the next stage. The next stage is the testing session. Now, this is where the actual audience testing process. So once your post has been categorized by the robots, they then send it to your audience, to a small group of your followers. They start to see it on their feed to see how popular the content is. So they show it to a small group. And you got to make sure people aren't reporting you as spam or trying to hide your post. Not really a lot of good reasons for them to do that. So just like, don't do something crazy and post something really controversial. Even if it's somewhat controversial, don't do that one on LinkedIn. Like, don't do that one on LinkedIn. And then the next part is content scoring. So once they placed it in front of your friend selections, and they see how they've interacted with your post, they start to give you a scoring system, basically. And this is just an example, but like a like, for example, might have 1 point, and a comment might have 2 points, and a share might have 3 points, right? Now, the score will decide the future of the post, basically. So it will either be demoted because it's seen as low quality, or be shown to more and more people because it's viewed as high quality. Look, the algorithm's just a guessing game. So all the engagement is how they can kind of tell. Now, the real people set assessment. So if you get engagement on your post, is passed along to genuine people at LinkedIn, who then read every post and decide to send your content out to more people, or whether this is the end of the line. If the content is working really well, the editors will also send the content to people outside of your network. It will appear in trending content on the app, topical content in the news feed, etc. So basically, the people, the overlords, the people over at LinkedIn will, if they think it's value content, they want people to stay on there, they're going to push it to more people. So LinkedIn sources are reasonably clear on what they want their platform to focus to be, the professional world. So instead of animated GIFs, Ellen videos, personal screenshots, the LinkedIn algorithm aims to show users news, job posts, and timely, accessible content to be of value to someone's career, whether as a business owner or employee. And also wants to see it's relevant to your industry. So a lot of it has to do with who are your connections. If your connections are in certain industries and you post about things relevant to that industry, your post is more likely to be seen by those people, right? So that's how they kind of do it. Images, videos, LinkedIn articles, external web pages, text updates, they do also track kind of how your connections tend to, what kind of content they engage with, right? So relevance to your audience is very important on LinkedIn. Very, very important. Look through your connections. Get a feel for what industries they're in. If they're not in industries that make sense to what your target market is, start looking to connect people who are in what your target market is. The first 60 minutes after posting content are the most crucial part of the content marketing success. It's called the golden hour for your post. So if no one reacts to your post within the first 60 minutes of posting, chances are it won't perform well, unless it has a huge comeback randomly, like when people just crazy start engaging with it. So the velocity of your post engagement depends on the ratio between reach, relevancy, views, reactions, and shares. Try to get 20 plus engagements, so reactions or comments, in the first half, so in the first 30 minutes. Again, that's not always easy to do, right? But that should be your goal, is to get at least 20 a combination of 20 likes and comments within the first 30 minutes. If you respond to comments, then it's a lot easier, right? Because if you get 3 comments, and then you respond to 3 of them, that's 6. That's 6 comments. So how it works, again, a little bit of a summary. So it prioritizes content from users whom you've engaged with in the past. It's the same thing in all these platforms. People that you like to engage with in the past, and it helps predict if they're going to show their content to you in the future, right? It also prioritizes content from users who get large amounts of engagement, even if you don't tend to like or comment on their post. So you get both. You get the people you engage with a lot, but also the people you follow, even if you don't engage with them, if their posts get a lot of engagement, it just keeps building. It's just like exponential how much reach they will get. It does also favor lengthy comments over a high volume of reactions. So lengthy comments are great. If you can get people to really share their 2 cents with you on their comments or comments on your posts, that's ideal. It does not prioritize content from business pages. So don't just post on your business page, leverage your personal page. If you have a company page, and even if you have employees, I recommend you encourage them to try to build up their own personal presence. And then they can actually use that to leverage your business page, even through shares and such. It prefers native content, such as text posts, images with text, and videos with text. So it's kind of the same thing as before. Like, you can use links, but I've said this many times, outside links do hurt your reach. Here are some updates for 2021. LinkedIn video is still important in 2021. However, it is not like it was when they first allowed users to upload videos. At the time, the algorithm was clearly prioritizing any video at the top of the feed. Now videos have to get good engagement to get prioritized. So just having a video is not good enough anymore. But they still have a slight leg up. Like, it's still better. So you still should do it. But I'm just saying, focus on putting a quality video. Actually, this is really interesting. I think there's a lot of hope, but it's very different from Instagram and Facebook. In 2021, LinkedIn is continuing a trend that they started back in 2019, which is to deprioritize content from mega influencers and give users a chance to see content from the non-internet famous people in their network. I think that's awesome, right? They're giving power back to the small people, right? They're giving us the power, not just these. And that's what's so different from Facebook and Instagram, because it's completely opposite there. This is another good one. Another big LinkedIn update for 2021 is they factor in dwell time in their algorithm. So if an audience spends much time digesting your content, chances are more people are likely to see it. So when you have posts that have this, again, it's the same thing. It's a long enough post where it has the see more option. You have to click on that to see the rest of the post. If you can actually get people to click on that, that is huge for your post. And I actually see people, I don't have the exact number of lines. Someone might have the answer if they do put it in the chat. But there's a certain point or a certain number of lines down where it makes it so you have to press see more to see the rest of the post. I've seen people purposely space out, right, between the paragraphs and leave kind of an attention grabber right above where the see more post, or a see more of this post, right, see the rest of this post is. It actually encourages people to click on that, which is huge for your algorithm. So that's a little pro tip. Again, if you're just getting used to it, don't worry about that. But start to experiment with that, because figure out how many lines down it takes to get to that where they have to click see more of the post. Some tips for LinkedIn. There's another one. Again, just utilize business owners and employees' profiles instead of just the business page. So that kind of backs up what I was thinking. Build your own personal and then leverage that too, which is what we all did at HNP. We built the HNP page, but I would do my own outreach. Fong would do his own outreach. Edwin already had a huge network actually. So we built up our own, and it made it way more powerful, because when we would share a post from HNP, it was going to reach a ton of people because we already had a presence. Post different types of content, text, images, videos, and see what gets the most significant proportion of impact over effort. So that's what it means by that is do the different kinds of posts, see what gets the most reach and engagement, and the way that reach and engagement versus how much effort and time you had to put in to create that content. That's how you're going to figure out what's the best bang for your buck, right? The best use of your time. Another one similar to Instagram, stay consistent. So if you post randomly, it will definitely downgrade you. Once per week seems to be a fine for many people. I post every day or share every day. I usually share stuff, which is great. So if you don't want to come up with content every day, share stuff from your followers, right? But still make some posts. If you really want to up your game, start posting once per day. But building a track record is essential. Don't be afraid to post external links occasionally. So this is what I say. I always tell people about the warning of using links. It doesn't mean don't use them. Just don't use them every time just because. Like, don't just make the post and then be like, Aaron Jestice stock. Hear more Aaron Jestice, like an email signature. You don't need that. Leave that out. It's gonna hurt your post. So you don't use links more than about 20% of the time. Use links about 20% of the time. And also just be sure to create content that can spark a conversation. High quality comments. Again, they bring on more reach. My little some other added ones I have is just, I already said use your company, but the cool thing about company is if you have your employees mark your company as where they work, you can actually recommend a post every 24 hours to your employees, and I will send them a notification that you made a post and ask them to engage with it. So it might be something you would consider doing. Also for those who run a networking group, right? If you, or would just say, with HNP, for example, we have a bunch of people who have HNP in their job description because they're co-hosts. Every time I recommend a post on there every 24 hours, it sends them a notification. I already said this, add connections that are relevant. So be professional, but add your own touch to it. So be yourself, meaning if you're someone who likes to add humor, it's okay to have humor in your post. Just because it's LinkedIn doesn't need it to be all like super professional and just, technical jargon and stuff. No, it can be funny, but just make sure it's about something, your business or something in business or about entrepreneurship or personal development or growth or success, right? Just make it about that. If you're a deep thinker, if you want to make long posts, do that. Share your thoughts. If you're super positive, then always keep putting out positivity. Just relate it back to business. I'm going to give you guys some overall tips in general. We're done with LinkedIn there. I do have some people submitted questions, which I'll cover at the end, by the way, if we have time. So I'm going to try to get through these. Here's some tips for you. Show lots of love to new followers and connections. So this is something I always do. When you add someone on Instagram, for example, or they follow you back, or even if they don't follow you back yet, you really want to increase the chances they follow you back, follow them and then like at least their last 3 photos, leave a comment on their most recent photo. I guarantee your odds of them following you back are so much higher because in their mind, they're like, they already know if they don't follow you back, there's a chance that you're just like, all right, whatever, I'm not going to follow them. I don't, part of that is relationship building. So if you like their post, comment on their stuff right away, they're already in their head, hey, this is someone this is a valuable follower. I want them to stay a follower. So I'm going to follow them back. Also, that first impression is powerful. So they're always going to think of you as someone who's engaging. It would say Dan's someone who follows me and then likes my post right away. I'm always going to think, man, Dan is someone who always engages with my stuff. And maybe that's not true. Maybe he just did it a lot early on. But I'm still going to think of him in my head that way. Of course, still keep engaging, but I encourage you to heavily engage with people that you are new connections. Always check your insights and analytics. See if you're driving traffic to your page. See if your overall reach is better. Like, check how you're doing and keep track of like why that's happening. I did more video posts this week. I did less video posts this week. I put a link in my post. I posted one less time, but I'm reaching the same amount of people. Maybe you find a better formula, right? Always check your analytics. Get others involved, but don't be annoying or desperate. Don't just tag everyone just to tag them. But you don't have to tag all your followers, but if I made a post about someone or about something, and then maybe it's similar to a conversation I had with someone else recently, I might put them in the tag them in the comments and say, hey, we were just talking about this. What are your thoughts? Something like that. It also helps build the relationship. Use hashtags. I see too many people's posts without any hashtags. Use them. I'm not telling you, like, even if you don't think they work, they work. Start figuring them out. There's a lot to it, but just start using them is the bottom line. Just use them, and then you'll figure it out. All right. Engage with others is the most important thing. I will always say. Social media footprints. I didn't cover that very much this time, but that's still one of my biggest points. Is one of the best things you can do is leave social media footprints, which is basically every time you leave a comment, every time you leave a like, every time you view something, that's leaving a digital footprint, which is traceable back to you. Social media footprint would be, again, specifically on social media. The benefit of that is you're leaving your link literally everywhere. If I comment on something, people can, if they like my comment or don't even, they just find it whatever, or they're just bored and they're going down a rabbit hole. They click on my username and it goes to my page. I just drove traffic to my page simply by leaving a comment on someone else's post that they took the time to create. So leave social media footprints everywhere. That's why the more likes, the better. The more you like other people's stuff, the more places you're leaving your quote unquote business card, right? Respond to comments with a question. If someone says, "Oh, I like to do this," don't just respond, "Cool." Okay. You respond with, "Oh, that's awesome. How long have you been doing that?" Right? Like just like a normal human being in a conversation. Word your post to be more engaging. So you don't always have to be the expert. You can ask questions. It's okay to ask people questions. They're not going to think you're dumb. Make sure your posts and pages are mobile friendly. That's a huge thing. Make sure more people look at social media through their phone than their computer, not even by a close number. So make sure, like, your cover photos, your banners, everything on your pages, that they aren't cut off when you go to mobile. Just make sure that it's perfect. It's optimized for mobile as well as desktop. It looks unprofessional otherwise. Like I said, be careful with outside links. And then always, just in general, here's something: the algorithms are always going to change. Use new features. So we talked about Reels. The social media platforms are going to push what they want to push. So if there's something new that they came up with, use it. And more and more likely that your posts are going to be seen, because they're going to favor those type of posts a lot more.